that we didn't. The first time I wrote a rhyme that I thought I could do it was, I'm the king of hip hop, renewed like the Reebok, the key in the lock with words so provocative. As long as I live, I'll be. When I caught that pocket, I was like, oh, I got this. My early years, I had the big green notebook. My mom had got me this notebook, and I was just writing, and it would be sideways and slanted and just like a mess. And I was writing really small because I didn't want anybody to read what I was writing. In my teenage years, I moved further away from the house. And as I moved further away from the house, it was hard to like hold these things. I had to retain these thoughts. I didn't write anymore in that little green notebook. I wish I had it, man. I never kept up with things. Who want to bet us that we don't touch letters? That's a whole different experience. I'll tell you about that. That was the first time I made a demo. Jazz and Big Daddy Kane in Brooklyn were the two guys at that moment. And the connector was Fresh Gordon. You know who Fresh Gordon is?
I know because I've read about him.
Oh, okay. Fresh Gordon was a super connect. Everyone used to be in his house. Fresh Gordon actually really, I believe, did the Push It beat and sold it for like $5,000. That's the folklore. I don't know if it's true. But you go to Fresh Gordon house and Marky D be there, Pepper, and then he had like all the computer equipment. His house was beautiful, incredible. So anyway, in that house, the two guys were going to meet up. They was going to make what we call a mixtape now. And everyone was talking about, who's that kid? And so Kane was like, I want to work with you. And I made a demo with Kane. And it was the first time I was like, oh, I can make songs. And that was I played for my uncle. He's like, man, get that shit out of here. I was like, I'm going to be better than LL Cool J. It's like, get the fuck out of here. But my uncle loved me. He was protecting me in that moment the way he could, because I was dreaming too big for him. He was like, let me let you down. It don't happen like that in life. Catch me skating through your town, putting it down, y'all relating. After 96, all the material that's on Reasonable Doubt was pretty much already like in my head. The thing about that album is the freedom in it and how naive I was. I didn't know anything about the music business. I wasn't trying to make the greatest song or, Streets is watching. The third verse is like 68 bars. It's not like 16 structured bars that I know is like be palatable for the audience. What I was thinking during Reasonable Doubt was when my guys hear this, it's gonna be like their mind's gonna be blown because we just left Vegas and this tells the story of our whole trip. They're gonna go crazy. This story that we just completed and now we're back home, they're hearing on wax. That was it. I was trying to make music for guys who were in the street and living just like us to have like a soundtrack to, the emotions that we were dealing with. Not just like the highs, not the Lexus and thing. That was part of it, yes. Right, that's the eye candy, the Lexus with the TV sets but the interior feelings and emotions was really what I was trying to accomplish as a writer. Like, how do I go even deeper to like, I'm going to tell you what you were thinking when you were doing that. Because it was exactly what I was thinking. I know exactly how you felt in that moment when you felt that paranoia or that exhilaration, whatever it was. I've been around this block too many times, rock too many rhymes. Most times I come up with the flow first. You may have heard like people like he does his Rain Man in the studio. Because I'm like, I'm trying to work out the pockets and then I'll fill it with words. What Biggie had was a jazz pocket that we didn't really know we was listening to until later on. One of his neighbors was this like jazz musician who would take him to like shows and things like that. We knew Rakim was come from a jazz background, right? So we understood I got to tell every lyrical demo down. So he's mimicking a horn, but Biggie was so unorthodox that it was like, Jesus. The notorious just please us with your lyrical. That's just jazz, improv, what he was doing. I don't come from a musical family, like, no the instruments, but it was just so much music in the house that it just was innate in me to think musically as well as I thought lyrically. Even the first album, when I didn't know what I was doing, I listened to some of those pockets, and they all like melodic.
One day you're cruising in the 7, next day you're sweating, forgetting your lies.
Yeah, collaborations is important to me because again, it's almost like another ingredient. And let's see how we can create a song that is authentic to all of us. The artist wants the other person to have a great performance because you want a great record. You don't want to have a performance where you're just, your verse is just obliterating someone and then, no one wants to hear that verse. That's not good for the song itself. I'm a fan of songwriting, so I want to know that the outcome. I'm curious to see how this is going to turn out. What is Pimp C going to say on this beat? He didn't like that beat in the beginning. It was just like, hey, Jig, man, that's thing too fruity, man. Like, he thought he was making like the biggest commercial, like sellout record. And he took some convincing. He still did the song. We actually was really cool once we met each other. I think he had 8 bars. I'm not sure. Maybe 12. I think he had 12 bars. 12-bar verse that was like one of the most memorable verses on a song. Because me and Bun is like, it's the big we just did a triplet flow to it.
Big pimp and spin the cheese.
But he did the opposite. He wouldn't even, he cut it in like, I think quarter note, whatever. He cut it like smoke. And I was like, what is he doing? And then by the like 4th bar, I was like, oh my God. Just beautiful. Like on Brooklyn's Finest, I didn't get to hear that till maybe a month later. So I did all those little parts. I'm saying, what's your name? Who shot you? And Biggie filled those in. And when he was like, in Faith have twins, she probably had 2 pox. I was just like, oh my God, it's just such a good line. It's just so good. And it was just so, he was one of those ones who ain't run from like controversy, whether it made him look bad or not. Like, most people ego wouldn't allow him to say that. And it was like one of the endearing qualities that he had as a writer, black and ugly as ever. And then one word was so powerful. However, black and ugly as ever. However, anything he said after that was going to be amazing. Those are little tricks as a writer that, that everyone's trying to accomplish. I can't say everyone. That's that I'm trying to accomplish. Like when I'm writing, is like just a word that just changes the framing of the thought in a powerful way in the shortest amount of time. Because that's hard to do. Like if you got unlimited, God did verses. I'm gonna hit on something because I'm writing through so many pockets. I'm gonna hit on a bunch of things. But if I got 8 bars, if you think about like fronting, like that was a very condensed, hard verse to write. You got 8 bars to convey your thoughts and get out of there.
Every time your name was brought up, I would act all nonchalant in front of an audience, like you was just...
those is when you got to sit down and really just like, make sure every measure counts.
Guess who's back?
It's a challenge for the pen, like when you're creating for someone else, and especially people that you respect. Dr. Dre, I grew up obviously a fan of him and Snoop. This is Dr. Dre coming off, leaving Death Row. I know where he was trying to go because I've been there a couple of times with like Kingdom Come and those things. So he's trying to make, he's like, I'm leaving this place and I want to mature. So for me, it was just natural to like get into his psyche. Like what would he be thinking right there? What would I be thinking? I would be thinking, I have to remind people that I'm Dr. Dre. That's where Still Dre comes. Still.
Dr. Dre is the name. I'm ahead of my game still.
It's like a challenge for you as a creator. For me, that's where I really thrive. Like when I'm challenged to like do a thing, to make a word mean more. It's triple entendre, quadruple entendre. That's when I feel like I'm at my best. You can pin yourself in the corner and say, I'm gonna write a song about, alcohol. And I'm just like, find clever. A lyrical exercise is a better example. So now I'm just going to take all these references, about bars and sit-ups and chin-ups and things, and I'm going to make it make sense, and it can't be corny.
Bring your squad, bicep, triceps, and quads.
Almost like a cooking show. These are the ingredients I got to work with. I'm making this type of meal, and I have these sort of things, and that's it. You take one of your arms and you tie it behind your back. That's a a challenge, but it's a challenge as a writer that you relish and you want.
What good is a menage a trois when you have a soulmate?
444 was, I mean, it was the toughest thing I had to write, and not lyrically, not the greatest metaphors I've ever created, but like the vulnerability and the honesty and transparency. That's hard. That's a difficult thing.
I suck at love. I think I need a do-over. I will be emotionally available if I invited you over.
But to do it for the entire album and to sit in that and like talk about real subjects and real talk about, you know, how your kids are going to feel. And, you know, at some point you're going to have to sit down and speak to them and all these different topics. That was the most difficult album that I had to write. And Niggas in Paris, I think that as a writer, those are like some of my best moments, some finest moments for me, most rewarding. I wouldn't say best. My most rewarding moments is to make something that people just dancing to, having a good time. But the theme of it is just like, wow, you know.
We need to be here. It's only right that we be fair.
It still has the connotation of racism in it, how people look at you. And we know about the French relationship with Africa and their money and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of deep things that's happening at one time. You mentioned like story of OJ. It's like this idea that once you've attained the success, you're a different person. Like you walk in as a different person. And I believe like OJ got to a point where he thought he was bigger than race. And he was like, no, I'm not black, I'm OJ. And it was like, okay, right? Because the moment you're not OJ, we're gonna see how that ends, right? Whereas, you know, myself, I show up as myself. And writing that in the song, there's just like, there's a responsibility that I have. And I think everyone has that's come from certain places where we come from that just comes with it. That's just the responsibility you carry. Like when you walk in the room, you ain't walking in just a solo. You represent the history of what's been done in this country. And it don't have to be all loud. You know, it's like every second of the day, but it's there. It's like air. The thing about B is she's actually an underrated songwriter. She really can write songs, but she does so much that I think what she gravitates towards is a producer. I think she likes songwriting. I never asked her this question. I'm going to ask her this question, but I think she likes songwriting. She loves producing because the thing she does is unbelievable. It's like she'll hear a snare from a song that maybe we heard once a year ago, where she'll just pull a snare from somewhere, or like take this song and mix it with this song and then put that bridge over here, or, you know, have a completely different song on a completely different beat and make it work for a whole other project. You know, I'm watching that like, wow, inspired by, you know, what she's doing. And I never really thought about that, but I'm almost sure like she likes songwriting. She loves producing. Yeah. Remember, hip hop was about the gift of discovery. That was it. When you went to school, you couldn't have the person that was already good. You have to say, yo, I got the new tape of somebody you never heard of. And it actually told the story of you. That's why hip hop became so big, because everyone wanted to feel those feelings. I tell people all the time, never fight against the future. Future's coming. Artists, they were trying to recreate something that was already done, but they're not connected to it like that. They're not living it and breathing it. They were fighting against gravity as opposed to telling their story. We needed that other side. We needed to hear about what happens when you've had 4 successful albums. What happens? What is that feeling like? How do you make the next one? How did you get in the studio? How are your kids? How do you interact with them as this hip hop dad? But if you're trying to make young music and you're not young, it's going to be inauthentic and people can feel that. You can smell it. So the best thing that anyone can do, like going through music, is to tell their story and just keep creating from that space. I love what the Clips are doing right now and how it's authentic to them. And they're telling the story about their mom and dad who just passed away and how deep that is, with John Legend singing on the chorus, and like, you know, everything that they've been through is an authentic display a piece of classic material that it could have came out 96 or come out 2026. It still feels the same because it's real and it's authentic to who they are.
You was tired but not ready to go. Basically was dying without letting me know. I love you.
After Black Album, it was more so like, what do I want to say and what do I have to say? And what's the challenge in the writing? Success hasn't changed my approach to making music. I've always felt like my aspirations were ahead of where I was currently. Even with all the success, I'm still like, no. This is where we belong. This is our place. I'm just 2 years ago was like fighting with the NFL to put Dr. Dre on. It's not fighting, but like convincing. It's like, y'all 30 years too late. Like, this is supposed to been happen. That emotion was from the first album to now. That fight to say, we're here, this is what we're about, and we're gonna get there, and this is what we deserve. Like I said, those are the ingredients that go in the song, whether it be about, a big yacht or the Lexus, bragging about money. Those are just props. That's not the engine. That's not the emotion that my music is running on. But once you get into the interior of the song, what you're hearing is the same thing you're gonna hear from, someone who has some integrity, morality, questions about religion, questions about who you are as a man, relationships, your legacy, your children, the fears that they're gonna have, whatever karmic debt that you put out there and how, that's gonna affect your family. Those are the real themes. My locations have changed, but who I am as a person and what I believe in, none of that's changed. Things I believe to be true, maybe young, I don't believe so much. A lot of street codes and things like that may have messed with our emotional intelligence. Money over hoes. That's a terrible concept. It sounds good. So yeah, some of those things change, but the foundation of the struggle, our fight to be recognized in a country that doesn't see us in that light. Those themes and emotions, I still try to convey them.
You feel it in, long as the villain win.
All my niggas from the hood, all my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rap, all my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rap. All my niggas from the hood, all my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rap, all my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the hood, welcome to the hood. All my niggas from the hood, all my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rap, all my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the hood, welcome to the hood. All of my niggas insane. They tryna catch a mistake. Young niggas putting in pain. It in the game, all for the game. Niggas ain't playing for nothing. Went in school, laying it bang. My little nigga kill my little nigga. Full-time job not to kill niggas. Jump off the porch of the field, nigga. You was in the house, I'm a field nigga. No fuck boys around real niggas. Been a drug dealer since a little nigga, To get a kilo, they'll kill a nigga. Fuck how you feel, nigga. To get some kilos, I'll kill a nigga too. Throw that rock like I'm Montana. Good head, raise my antennas. G49, not San Fran. Beat the box with my bandana. Then I dip set like I'm Santana. I'm in UK like that Montana. She bring me money, you press her.